Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Great Day Houston. All right, so several research studies show that the number of heart attacks increase around the holidays. Millions of people are one beat away from this life-altering or life-ending health crisis. Our first guest wants you to stay several beats ahead with a prevention plan. Since diabetes is the #1 reason for heart disease, Veronica Sanchez with the American Heart Association and Chef Ignacio Olivera with Hope Clinic's Bite of Hope share the difference some simple dietary changes can make. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, before we dig into the food right here, let's dig into your story. What did you know about heart disease before one day you got very personal with heart disease?
Actually, I didn't know very much. I didn't know anything at all,
Yeah.
to be quite honest.
Did it run in your family?
At the time, I did not know that, but yes, it does.
Yeah. And what did you know in terms of, like, you know, what symptoms we'd hear about? You probably, like a lot of people would think, if I had heart disease, I would know. I would feel some symptoms, right?
That's what you would think. But actually, I didn't know anything at all, and I actually suffered a heart attack.
Yeah.
Actually, I suffered 2 heart attacks.
2 heart attacks. What happened the first time?
In my first heart attack, what I felt was extreme nausea and dizziness. I was
You could
at
apply
work.
that to so many different things,
I
right?
was at work. I thought it was something I ate. Didn't give it much thought, but then as the day progressed, I noticed that I started to get very dizzy. And so dizzy, I felt like vertigo times 10. I had to go into my office and lay down on the floor and have my arms extended out because I felt like I was going to fall.
There was a good chance that you would not be here because, as we know, rapid response is so important. But a lot of people, that's what they would do. You're exactly right. Go in, let me lay down for a while. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. We'll excuse what it can be. The moment you found out that you had a heart attack, that was a surprise to you. Huh?
It was a surprise because it happened after the second one. After that first one, that first one, I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I had to go home.
Yeah.
Went home. Evening was the same. I cooked dinner, ate dinner, went to bed. So the symptoms subsided. So I said, it's over.
Yeah.
It's done. Whatever that was.
Your body gave you a very big warning, right?
But exactly 12 hours later, I had what I call the bigger heart attack. And what I felt was a sensation of heaviness on my chest. And I had never felt that before. I felt like somebody was pushing me down into the bed because it happened at 4 a.m. I tried to get up. I couldn't get up. And I woke up with the sensation of having to go to the bathroom. And I finally threw myself off the bed, rolled over to the bathroom, went to the bathroom. I said, I'm just going to go on the couch, sit down for a little bit, see if this goes away. I don't know what's going on. About every 5 minutes, full bladder. I said, this is so strange. I didn't drink that much water.
And by the way, oftentimes women will present differently than men.
That is correct. And so again, I just didn't know what was going on. Then all of a sudden, my left arm started to feel heavy. That's when I woke up my husband.
Because now you're getting all those symptoms that we're familiar with. And here's the thing that I think the problem that a lot of us deal with is that that heart disease had been there for a while. It didn't just happen that night.
That's correct.
And that's why you have become an advocate for prevention and education. That's what the American Heart Association is big on, so that you know things that are coming, but more so than that, let's prevent things if we can. And part of that is lifestyle. So Ignacio, before the show, we were talking about how the CDC at one point came out with this phrase, and the phrase was that more people are likely to die from family recipes than DNA. We have a tendency to excuse things like diabetes and say, oh, it runs in my family, there's nothing I can do about it. Oftentimes there is something you can do about it, or at least mitigate it. Let food be thy medicine.
Yes, there is a very real push amongst the medical professionals I know to reframe care. Like once you're presenting symptoms, once you are in a doctor's office, you have ostensibly missed steps that you could have taken to prevent illness, right? A healthy diet is the best thing that you can do for your health. And a healthy diet doesn't necessarily have to mean like tomorrow I'm going completely vegan, I'm changing every single thing. Like the best diet that you can have is the one that you will actually stick to, right? I'm not saying tomorrow I'm running a marathon. No, I'm saying tomorrow I'm going to eat some vegetables and I'm going to walk to lunch. Right? Those small changes.
Because let's face it, if it's not convenient for us and if it doesn't taste good, we're not going to stick with it, right?
There's a reason that fast food places are so successful. It's because they're convenient, and we need that convenience. So what we need to demonstrate is that eating healthy can also be convenient. It can also be easy. It can also be affordable. Because there is definitely the idea that, well, all those organic vegetables are very expensive. This fast food burger cost me $2. It costs you much more than $2 in the long run. Your medical bill is going to be more than $2.
You can't have that burger every now and then, but just not that can't be your basis. So you're saying all this stuff about healthy stuff, but I see your tortilla in that pan right there, sir.
Yes, there is a tortilla, and tortillas are good. There is a reason that the Bible says, give us this day our daily bread. It is an important part of our diet to have some kind of starches. So what we're doing today is a very simple recipe with probably things that you already have in your fridge, right? None of this should be completely wild and out there to anybody, but we're going to make a very simple egg and cheese wrap with avocados and tomatoes.
Yeah, and real cheese, by the way, because it's important to know your ingredients, because you've got real protein in there. It's not a lot of fillers and other things or fat.
And because we are focusing on this being a healthy dish, you'll notice that we don't have any salt here. Right, the natural salt in the cheese is what's going to do most of the seasoning here.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many times do you really, when they say pinch of salt, that's another thing, right? Pinch of salt maybe, but not in this case because it already exists in the cheese.
Right, it exists in the cheese. Difference between this kind of consciously healthy cooking and the sort of thing that you'll get at a restaurant, the amount of butter that is used in restaurants, and I have done this as well, right? A personal portion of migas with about a quarter pound of butter in there.
Instead of a pat of butter,
right? Oh, it's delicious, and it took a solid 2 months off my life.
Yeah, right. And the thing is, you don't miss it when you do the right thing or using other seasonings outside of salt. Pepper is a great one, right?
Pepper is a fantastic seasoning.
So while you're making that, just want to talk a little bit about Hope Clinic and what Hope Clinic does.
So Hope Clinic is really a full-service FQHC, which means Federally Qualified Health Center. They provide all types of services, not only just for medical, but also for dental. They have laboratory, they do behavioral health. And so one of the things that they're working with in collaboration with the American Heart Association is really looking at what we call lifestyle RX. And it's really combining knowing your numbers, understanding what your blood pressure, your blood glucose, and your cholesterol is.
A1C, insulin.
And getting, correct, and your insulin. And then we're also making sure that we're coupling it and layering interventions like healthy eating and physical activity. Because what's important, what you put in your mouth and what you do with your feet is ultimately important to your overall health.
And here's the thing, we always say you should eat better. And even I have friends who have left their doctor's office and they go, we need to change your diet a little bit. But what does that mean?
Exactly.
At Hope Clinic, you're carrying it all the way through so we can access these recipes and get this information.
Yes. Ignacio does a great job through Bite of Hope to really show the importance of not only eating healthy, but making it look so easy, and then showing how you can use everyday ingredients to make food taste fantastic and still making sure that you're doing healthy eating.
And Ignacio, there's obviously, being a chef, a lot of people focus on just the hot restaurants and things, but there's a wide range of what being a chef means. You've worked in those restaurants.
Yes.
But here you're working with just a different purpose.
Yes, it's a very rewarding experience, to focus on healthy eating, to focus on helping the community, because I can guarantee you every restaurant I've worked at, and so I imagine that the majority of restaurants here in Houston are busy enough with just the questions of, does it taste good?
Yeah.
Does it look good? And will this keep our business open? And that is more than enough to keep people busy. It is not a slight on anyone to recognize that, is this healthy, was never something I was asked.
Yeah, and right. But with that said, I love the fact that we've had a kind of a renaissance in food over the last 10, 15 years, that we're doing more of the farm to table, more like kind of like the rest of the world has been eating for a long time. We got convenience here.
And a big part of that farm to table, I'll say this, it wasn't so much about a conscious decision for healthy eating. The health aspect of it was a side benefit, right? This just happens to be healthy. But really what people were looking for, and generally chefs are looking for, is this is the best product.
Yeah,
right?
The taste, right?
The taste,
and then of course we're getting nutrient-dense food.
Taste is
What
king.
did you add there? Okay, you had the cheese.
So we started with our tomatoes, right? We cooked out a little bit of the natural water in the tomatoes. We added our egg whites. We added our cheese, and we just let the egg whites scramble. We let the cheese melt into it. We add some pepper at the very end. Nice and simple. And we're going to put this in our tortilla that we toasted ahead of time.
Ooh, yeah, I'm going to bite into that in a second, but that looks hot. Meanwhile, programs, Cook with the Doctor series, partnership with health institutions, a community outreach, small food business program, and Culinary Institute, all types of things to connect the dots.
That's right. We need a little bit of everything to be able to maintain those healthy lifestyles. And I just want to say, it smells amazing.
It does smell amazing. I know it does.
Thank you very much.
I call first dibs. Sorry, I call first dibs. All right, who is Hope Clinic for? Can anyone go to Hope Clinic, or what area do we serve?
Hope Clinic has several locations located throughout Greater Houston, and it's open to all Houstonians.
Okay, here we go. You folding that
Let's
up
see if I can still. One of my first jobs
there? You know what, I'm gonna,
was at.
because I'm on TV now. If the cameras weren't rolling, I would just bite on into that, and the juices will be rolling all down my face. But I'm gonna go right in here, right to the side there.
Go
grab
for
a little
it.
bit of that. Grab a little of that avocado, which, by the way,
Yep.
clarify something for us, because I heard this just the other day, and I always hear this. Someone goes, "I love avocados, but they're too fat." Fat doesn't make you fat, and there's that thing called good fat, right?
There is that thing called good fat. There are saturated fats, unsaturated fats, monounsaturated fats, polysaturated fats. There is, in general, if a fat is solid at room temperature, right, the fat that you see on beef, the fat that you see on chicken, that is generally less healthy than fat that is liquid at room temperature.
All right, or like an avocado.
Or
solid,
something that comes
yeah.
from a vegetable,
Yeah.
a fruit, right?
All
These are
right.
different.
Thank you so much. And you're right, this is so good. This is so good. For more on the services at Hope Clinic and the Bite of Hope program, log on to biteofhope.org, biteofhope.org. And for more tips from the American Heart Association, you can also visit heart.org/Texas or follow them on Facebook and Instagram at American Heart TX. Remember, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.